Good evening to every one of us. Sincere apologies for the late start. Ken, I might need you to moderate while you admit people and give permissions to share screen as well.
Good evening, Grace. How are you? And good evening, everybody. We sincerely apologize for starting late. Grace, you are now the co-host. Just confirm from your end.
Indeed, I am. Thank you.
Pleasure. So we are like 17 minutes out, quite a huge minute, but I hope we will make sure that we finish up in time for day one session. We promise that next tomorrow we'll start exactly the time that we've set for our meeting. So Grace, you can try sharing your screen so that we can confirm that we can see your screen.
Confirm that you can see nutritional support strategies for the preterm infant in the NICU.
Perfect. We can see that. Maybe you put it in a slide mode.
All right, allow me not to put it in the slide mode because I would want to share two perspectives of today's screens.
Okay.
I'll be sharing as well the concepts that have been put in place, and in this case, the protocol guidelines that were launched last year. The newborn care protocols as well. So I will not delve much into parenteral nutrition. Like we'll start with enteral and then we get into parenteral, and of course focus on some of the things or major things that Capricorn and NDA have an understanding about.
Oh, perfect. Now, I want to assist you. You see up there where there's home.
Correct.
Go to the design. Yeah, click there. Then go until the last where it is written slide size.
Slide size. Can you see slide size? Let me just cancel.
At the end. At the
the
end.
very. Oh
No,
yeah,
just
got it.
click there. And then
Widescreen?
it's already widescreen. Okay.
Yeah, it's already
So then,
widescreen.
okay, then because we want it to at least be, you can maybe add a little bit of size so that we have enough. Even if you are not putting in a slide, you can. Yeah,
Everything's
though
in
we
black
can
and
see.
white though.
Yeah, we can see, so it's okay. So now I think we can start so that we don't take much time. So good evening, colleagues, and everybody that has joined us so far. First of all, we would like to apologize that we started a little bit late. It was not our intention. Our apologies. I would like to welcome you to this 5-day session, quite interesting one that we are going to have starting today. As the Nutrition Association of Kenya and Nutrition and Dietetics Academy, we are always privileged to have sessions that are impactful in our practice. As you are aware, we have different categories of nutrition organization. There's KNDI, which is the board that deals with regulatory. Then we have the association like NAC, which deals with capacity building of nutritionists. And then, of course, we have KUNAD, which deals with union affairs. So I think that information should be well noticed. So as NAC and the Nutrition and Dietetics Academy, we always strive to meet the the skills of our nutritionists, and this we've been doing religiously, and we are so happy that we continue to partner with our partners Capricorn, who are supporting pediatrics and reproductive and maternal health. And this week we are going to have a series of neonatal nutrition. The great person who is going to do this presentation to us is none other than Grace Nyawira. Grace Nyawira is a very skilled and specialist nutritionist working at Nanyuki County Referral Hospital. She is a renal specialist certified by the KNDI board. And she is so interested also in issues neonates and also the critical care, especially in their management. These are very important topics that we'll be learning, and we feel that it is important that we welcome all of you to this forum. Without much further ado, I'd like to allow Grace to take up the session. We like also to have some housekeeping. Kindly make sure your microphone is off. Your videos are also turned off for a good connectivity. And if you have any question, you can type them in our chat box so that we will be able to give answers as we go by. Grace, karibu sana, take it up.
Thank you so much, Ken. And definitely thank you so much for the warm welcome. Please do take up the admitting role. I've been doing that, so at least we've got already 62 already with us here, and an absolute welcome to all of us to this particular 5-day series. And like I mentioned earlier on the NDA forum, the next 2 weeks are going to be really, really intense in terms of our learning. And it's just not learning, it's learning and learning and relearning. And of course, that really helps us with our practice. So these couple of days to come will be, reminding ourselves about NICU care of the preterm infant or the neonate. And we'll be looking at different aspects. As we all know that we are looking at the world changing, and of course the world of nutrition changing. We are the biggest says right now, and of course we command knowledge, we command confidence, but of course that depends on the first impression you get to give your other colleagues. But that is the uptake we've been having the last couple of years. And I hope we are also aware that we've had a launch of the global malnutrition score, and it's still underway, and now it's been promoted to take care of the adult 18 plus years. And it's basically a clinical tool that will be using not only with pediatrics, but now will be used with adults. You can check it out on ANHI, or ANHI. So it's currently in very good use with pediatrics, pediatric nutrition, but it's now being transited to suit the adult nutrition care as well. So let's delve into what we're talking about today. Basically, the nutrition support strategies that we've got to take care of the neonates in the NICU. Now, to note that one of the most important things to look at is why you're taking care of this neonate in the NICU. What is the goal as far as nutrition is concerned? You're looking at promoting growth rate. You're looking at ensuring that they've got normal body composition, for a normal, healthy fetus of the same gestational age, of course, in terms of weight, the length, head circumference, organ size, tissue components, inclusive of the cell number, the structure, concentration of blood and tissue nutrients, and developmental outcomes. So if it means basically that if you are not able to take care of that, there is a failure. And the failure here is going to, be broad enough, or from the concept of essential nutrients to looking at increasing the morbidity and sadly the mortality rate of the neonates, and just basically having to affect their brain growth and of course their neurodevelopment. So what does that mean? It means that we have to constantly be there in the NICU. We have to constantly be there because we are the people who are well empowered, well knowledgeable to take care of this class of patients. So sadly, if we do not take care of this, it means that this failure will continue to be true despite the many efforts to increase their nutrition, increase their nutrition. So basically that means, as we are going to see that, is that you are, or we are, because we are all nutritionists and members of teams, we are supposed to be there to take care of these neonates daily. All right, daily meaning that means with, for example, with weight, with weight gain, it is expected that you're going to recalculate the nutrient needs and requirements of this particular neonate. And of course, that is going to be very different for each neonate. of course, the concept of individualized nutrition care comes into play. So basically, what are we looking at? We're looking at, of course, the preparation of the infant for nutrition. And one of the simplest aspects is what we look at, the command of initiation of breastfeeding. Okay, so that in conjunction with proper medical management to optimize the benefits of enhanced and improved nutrition. So there's a concept that we take care of under MIUICN, and the first one of the biggest guidelines that has the biggest top score is initiate breastfeeding 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes after, after birth. All right, so sometimes that can be difficult because different facilities are placed differently in terms of structure. Like where I work, for example, if it is a cesarean section case, it means that the baby will have to be taken from the theater, transferred to the NICU, and the mom will follow later after now they are in the recovery, so that then the recovery can take 30 minutes to an hour, dependent on the procedure, blood loss, etc. So many other things can affect that. For a mom who has had delivery via SBD, it means that they can actually be able to initiate. Sometimes that is difficult because of complications that come with childbirth, and that's okay. That we have to appreciate is there. But can we start breastfeeding as soon as possible? Yes, it is very possible. But in the cases where it is not so much possible, what can we do? And that is exactly what we'll be looking at today. So we'll look at one aspect in the next, say 28 minutes or thereabout. Ken, I'm still admitting people. Please take over that role so that it's not distracting on my screen. And we'll be able to see what can we
I'm doing
do.
that. I'm doing
Sorry?
that. Okay. I think you'll be seeing them because because you are a co-host, but don't worry. I'm doing the admission, so don't worry.
All right, that's fine. So like I said, we'll be looking at what to do with low birth weight babies, very low birth weight babies, and those who are in both categories and that are stable. And then we've got the same category but unstable. And we'll also be looking at what the guidelines say on doing that, which reminds me of we can be looking at those guidelines right now. Let me try and see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. So what
Oh,
specifically do you want us to confirm?
I need to get rid of this small tab on the upper side and bring it down. All right, so can you see comprehensive new care guidelines?
Not yet. I think from my side, I'm still seeing improved Medicare and physiology. Have you stopped sharing the other screen, the other presentation?
Okay, let me stop sharing that side and then have a new
Yeah,
share
yeah,
on this one.
yeah, sure, sure.
All right, is it now possible to see?
Yeah,
Comprehensive
sure, sure.
Care Protocols Book November 2022 PDF?
Yes, maybe you can add a little bit of the font, the plus there, so we can have an increase. You can have a better one. I think
Visible?
that's better now. That's better.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, like I mentioned, we have two categories of patients that get to land into the NICU. You get a low birth, or you can actually have a normal gestational age and weight babies. You can have low birth weight babies, and then you can have very low birth weight babies. But all these three are actually stable and well. And then you can have the same category, but unstable. All right. So what we get to do is now visualize. This is a baby who's landed at NICU, possibly from theater. And then as soon as they land, you get to assess. Okay. So what do you get to assess as far as this baby is concerned? So assess the baby shortly after birth. And then you categorize them. Are they weighing less than 1,500 grams or more than 1,500 grams? So if they're weighing more than 1,500 grams, are they able to breastfeed or not? Okay. if they're able to breastfeed, so that's a yes. Absolutely, breastfeed on demand based on infants' hunger cues, of course. Now, if they're not able to breastfeed, we can express and feed by cup based on the infant hunger cues, of course. Now, let me pause right here and talk about expressing. And this one we can use the chat box, of course, or you can raise your hand and answer. How many of us have tried to promote the use of breast pumps? And if yes, what has been the uptake? If no, what was the response? So this is an open question. At facility level, of course. What has been the response to use of breast pumps in terms of expressing breast milk, rather than use of the hand, the manual hand expressing? It's a very painful procedure, FYI. Anyone?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
With my experience with the breast pumps, it depends. It basically depends on the facility level, and also depends on the hygiene levels of the facility. So for most places that the parents or the mothers are able to maintain good hygiene, the uptake has been very high. But then on the places that there is an issue with hygiene, it's not really encouraged, because that ends up in more infections.
Okay. Thank you so much for your response. Any other person who's had experience with use of breast pumps at the facility level? Anyone? Somebody? Anybody?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, okay. I have encountered the usage of breast pumps. Where I come from, it's a county referral hospital, but breast pumps are quite expensive for such kind of mothers. So when I get someone, I normally engage them. Like, I normally advise them, you can even use the breast pumps if you can, because hand expressing is quite hard. And when you use the breast pump, you really need to picture in the hygiene practicals, because they are prone to microorganisms that cannot be good to the neonate. So I normally encourage them, but they are quite expensive to general population. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Any other person? One last. Manual expression when done the right way, it works very well. That is Joyce and Jeru's comment. Thank you, Joyce. One last person.
Hello.
Hello.
Most of from a country referral hospital, my experience has been that if you talk to these mothers between hand expression and breast pump, most of these mothers prefer hand expression. Their response to me has always been that use of a breast pump looks so mechanical, and to them it's more artificial than it makes them feel like even their babies are more vulnerable. They are not normal. So most of them would prefer to me, daktari tufunze jinsi ya kukamua na mkono.
All right, thank you so much. I think there's another comment. I usually use the videos from where? From Global Health to demonstrate to the mother in the NBO on how to express, and it works very well with the videos. Eunice Kiles's comment is personal experience that the breast pump works wonders. So definitely we can see we can see the different concepts. JM says their own experiences, manual is super painful, breast pump is effortless, and that means, painless, and that's okay. I think my point of view is, I think this is a study area that's been left untouched, possibly an interventional. We can look at it from an interventional study point of view. Ken, if you hear me, you know what I mean. We can always look at, of course, conduct a study on use of breast pumps versus hand expression, especially for moms who do not have breast milk at the first point, especially for CS moms, to provoke for breast milk production. But hey, like I said, that is basically to jog our minds around research. That I think is a point of research. So back to what we were talking about. When categorizing and assessing this particular infants, we're looking at those who weigh more or an equivalent of 1,500 grams and those that are less than. So we've looked at when they're able to breastfeed and when they're not. We can always switch to the CAP system based on the infant cues, or if they're breastfeeding, absolutely breastfeed on demand. That is usually what we preach. Now, what if they weigh less than 1,500 grams? All right. So basically, I put this up here because this is basically such a beautiful guideline. We can always start somewhere. And this, you're looking at starting the expressed breast milk at 80 mils per kg per day on day 1 and increasing by 20 mils per kg each day. Most of the time, we'll start the feeds with 5 mils of expressed breast milk and increase by 5 mils each 3-hourly feed until full 3-hourly feed volume is actually achieved. All right. So you're looking at the 3-hourly feed volume being achieved as 80 mils per kg per day. So you've got 2 starting points. You are not lost. You've got 2 starting points. So a perfect example with a neonate that weighs 1,000 grams, you can start at 80 mils per kg. So that is 80 times 1 is equals to 80 mils. Now, these 80 mils, the 80 mils are supposed to be given in 24 hours. So if you're looking at giving that as 3-hourly feeds, you basically divide 80 by 8 feeds, because the 8 feeds now, that means 3-hourly. And then the prescription is going to be 10 mils every 3 hours of EBM. And the first feed is going to be 5 mils. And then, of course, 10 mils 3-hourly. Day 2, if you go up by 20, that means 100 mils per kg, divide by the amount of weight you get. Of course, then you get the 3-hourly feeds. So by and by, of course, you're weighing this neonate daily, taking care of other things, of course, right? So if you're targeting, if you've got a 3-hourly NGT EBM feed, so this is one who may not be able to breastfeed. So using an NGT, you can look at the different weights. These are perfect examples of what to do with an NGT feed. So at day 1, if we are looking at 600 grams, then this is 6 mils. Day 7 at a 700 gram baby, you are looking at 7. So you're looking at all this, and this perfect table right here is going to tell exactly what you're looking at. So that is what you're doing. You're dealing with as far as you've got a stable, yet this neonate is less than 1,500 grams. All right. So this is less than 1,500 grams for stable newborns with birth weight 1,000 to 1,499 grams. Okay. Now, as you can see, the next bit we'll be looking at unstable neonates. So unstable neonate has either of this: convulsions, is unconscious, severe respiratory distress, and this is evidenced by severe chest wall indrawing, absent bowel sounds. So you're looking at all this, and that means you transit to something else. So at day 1, you start with IV 10% dextrose for 24 hours. So this tiny neonate is going to have an IV line and will be running dextrose for 24 hours. And if you're looking at the birth weight being less than 1,500 grams, always start at 80. birth weight equal to or greater than 1500, we start with 60 ml per kg per day. All right. Then step number 2 is to stimulate the gut. And stimulating here the gut, we're going to use 2 ml per kg of colostrum via NGT every 3 hours. So hand expression or use of a breast pump comes in again, because again, we have to ensure that the gut here is stimulated. All right. And you're starting this when you've got the airway, the breathing, and the circulation having been stabilized. So to be started when A, B, and C are stabilized means we initiate this after airway, breathing, and circulation are stabilized. All right. And then please note that this is not deducted from the intravenous fluids, IV fluids. All right. So that is what you're looking at. At day 2, you can start feeding by using EPM, BNGT at 30 ml per kg per day of the EPM, and you go up increasing as well, and then you reduce the IV fluids. Now, the reason why this is important is so that you do not overload the neonate. All right, do not overload this particular neonate. So you go up on the EBM, you definitely go down on the IV fluids. Sawa. I hope that is really well understood. And then while you go up on the EBM and go down on the IV fluids, you are aiming to achieve a max of 150 ml per kg per day. Okay, so this is when you have combination of IV fluids and EBM. All right. The combination that means the max is going to be 150 ml per kg per day. Now, when you are looking at having eliminated the IV fluids completely, now the EBM here can go to a max of 180 ml per kg per day. Sometimes it may actually be possible to increase these fluid volumes to, as much as 200 ml per kg per day. But definitely, it means it has to be a team decision. This is not a one-cadre decision. This is a team decision, all right? Now, for infants who got 1,500 grams and above, total intake at day 1 is 60 ml per kg per day. That is IVFs. And then at day 2, you're looking at a total intake of 80. So that means 30 EBM, 50 IV fluids. And at day 3, total of 100. So you've gone up by 20 again. And that means 60 is EBM and 40 is IV fluids. Now, please note that when you're having this, remember the maxes when you've got a combination of IV fluids and expressed breast milk. And remember the maxes when you're just using expressed breast milk only. You might have neonates who show up with hypoglycemia, or possibly hypoxia. So we'll be looking at all this as well. You have to put into consideration that we've got to correct this hypoglycemia, and that can only be monitored by, of course, monitoring the blood glucose prior to the feeding and ensuring that you've got 3 consecutive blood glucose measurements that are normal with monitoring every 3 hours and then every 6 hourly. Please note with neonates, the prescription of EBM and IV fluids is a daily task. It is a daily task, all right? Daily task meaning, hold on a minute, please, excuse me.
So as we continue with the presentation, kindly you can also type your questions at the chat box, so Grace will be able to answer them, or at the Q&A section. Grace, you are back?
Yes. Sorry, I am still at work and I need to leave and close the unit at 7. But not to worry, hopefully we'll have achieved something by then. Then I hope hopefully tomorrow we can tackle parental the parental route as far as NICU and neonates are concerned. So
No
like I was
problem.
saying, as far as enteral nutrition is concerned, and of course we're using express breast milk with this particular class of patients, I have to insist that prescription is done daily. All right. So primarily, if we are to look at the concept of advocacy as far as our CADA is concerned, the NBU, and for us who have NICUs, must have a nutritionist stationed there permanently, like consistently. All right. Consistently means that they know their work totally is neonates. They wake up to neonates and they go to sleep to neonates, basically, because the prescription here is daily. Now, the reason why I'm insisting having someone stationed there is this. You come in the morning, you get to see those that you had seen, say, yesterday, and then, or, they were possibly admitted last night, you're able to calculate for them. And around 1 p.m., you have received another lot of neonates coming from either theater or there's been birth asphyxia and they have to be dashed to the NICU. And then you have to calculate for them as well. So you have to be there, assess, and calculate, prescribe in that order. So basically means that by the time you are clocking out, say at 5 p.m., you're coming to see the lot that has been admitted from 5:01 to the time you get in the following morning, if they've not yet been started on IV dextrose, like I see it where I work. All right. So that is what it actually means to be stationed there as well, so that there is no gap in terms of nutrition care. All right, so that has to be taken care of very, very, very intentionally. Now, the other thing is, as far as IV fluids and EBM are concerned, sometimes the changes can easily happen during the day, say at 12, or you've got a major ward round and the consultant insists, let's take care of this because, of course, there's been a change, like, God forbid, a neonate developing CCF at this point. So that means primarily you have to be there and monitor as well. Feeding charts are really, really important. And that means each patient at this point has their own feeding chart and it's changed every day. Now, let me also insist that the feeding chart of, say, for example, yesterday must be filed so that there is evidence of work done. All right, so there's evidence of work done. And also that means the feeding charts here are very crucial so that there's no unexplained deficit. You are able to show, and make note where the deficit was, if the neonate shows up dehydrated or they fail to gain weight as expected. So if you're looking at a perfect example of a 3-hourly NGT EBM feed and a 1-hourly IV fluid unstable newborn with less than 1,500 grams, this is what you're looking at. At day 1 of a 600-gram neonate, a 3-hourly EBM not initiated yet because we've talked about stimulating the gut after 24 hours and initiating IV fluids by using of dextrose 10%. So that means they'll receive 2 meals per hour of D10. And then if we're talking about an 800-gram baby, that is 3 meals per hour. If you're talking about 1,000 grams neonate, this is 4 meals per hour. And if it is between 1.4 and 1.5 kilos, that's 5 meals per hour of D10. And that means you'll have achieved 80 meals per kg per day of total fluid intake as well. So at day 2, you're starting to stimulate the gut by use of colostrum. Of course, colostrum is now being expressed by the mom, and you're able to give 2 meals every 3 hours and still 2 meals per hour of D10. And this table is really crucial because you get to see how much you are able to achieve by the end of the right here. Okay, so basically that's it as far as unstable babies and stable babies are concerned, and looking at the weight distribution. Are we talking about a 1,500 gram and of course above, or is it 1,500 and below as well? So tomorrow hopefully we are able to start in time, we'll be able to look at the parenteral. But here's something else that I need us to keep in mind. When we're talking about unstable neonates, we have to keep several things in mind. We've got to target the nutrients that, of course, we give are crucial in terms of cell differentiation, okay? If you go to meiosis and mitosis, that is what you're looking at. And it's very fast for them. So meaning the nutrition here is so crucial because you're able to take care of a few things. One, you're able to take care of oxygen circulation, of course. You're able to take care of their glucose concentrations, and they can easily fluctuate. Their blood pressure, organ perfusion being very highly variable and often can go down very fast if unmonitored. There's a significant production of counter-regulatory hormones such as adrenaline, and principally we're looking at norepinephrine, cortisol, glucagon, growth hormone, which actually promote variable changes in the cardiac output, in organ perfusion, glucose, and oxygen values. So this is what you're looking at mostly in the NICU. This is what you're going to interact with. The medical responses will include the infusion of catecholamines that will increase the blood pressure, hydrocortisone, which is a steroid, to promote blood pressure, contributing to common physiological disturbances. Of course, you're looking at antibiotics, being prescribed right there. And sadly, sometimes they're poorly understood because of how they mess up or alter. Let me use the word alter intestinal microbiota. And microbiota is something else that is really huge as far as neonates and infants are concerned, because you're looking at the intestinal microbiota being our second brain, but being very primarily crucial with neonates. If you're not using EBM, that means we do not have oligosaccharides that are prebiotics and promote better intestinal microbiota. You're looking at, if we are to prescribe IV nutrition alone, making it a bit complicated for enteral feeding, because we're going to have reduced GI villi development. You're going to have a decrease in secretion of digestive enzymes. You're looking at a reduction of in secretion of incretins, such as gut hormones, and you're looking at glucagon and like peptides 1 and 2, promote insulin secretion and reduce gut motility. So basically, we're looking at not only us working to take care of these particular neonates, but you're also looking at it from a team perspective. And that's the reason why I've said good medical care will really help reduce these problems and improve the capacity to start parenteral nutrition or enteral nutrition. And here, enteral, we're talking about by NGT or per oral, and this is EBM, and of course, advance more effectively. As far as oxygen goes, we're looking at growth and normal metabolism requiring sufficient blood content, oxygen content. And one of the reasons why we get, neonates in the NICU, especially via for mothers who deliver via SBD, is birth asphyxia. So we are looking at the current medical practices, sometimes leading to often to reduce blood oxygen content and potential for poor growth. So we have to be on the lookout for the same, provide intentionally good, good care. And if we are monitoring the O2 levels, of course, promote, oxygenation. And remember, this is very crucial because research has shown that fetal growth is maintained when blood oxygen content increases in response to low PO2 values by increased erythropoietin production that increases red blood cell number. Of course, that gets to hit me because the kidneys are responsible for that. And that means transfusions can be given early before anemia becomes severe and damages enterocytes in the GI tract that might promote risk of NEC and sepsis. Now, for those of us who worked in the NICU and newborn unit, you know how much NEC can be frustrating. You actually end up feeling very, very sad and drained and frustrated, of course. So Having said that, we'll be able to look at IV, of course, parenteral feeding tomorrow, God willing. And hopefully we'll do that in time so that we've got an amazing hour to do what we can as much as we can, of course. Now I'm looking at the chat box to see whether we've got any questions or comments. Of course, now I'm looking at comment by Eunice. She says breast pumps require milk flow and it also takes time and be mentally prepared. That is very true. If milk doesn't flow, of course, it's actually very frustrating. Dennis says between D10 and RL, which IV is good to maintain hydration? That depends on it's case-based. If I'm being truly honest, it is very case-based, because if you are to look at a neonate who's showed up to the NICU at fast point, and that means this is after birth, it basically means that you have to start with D10 because, of course, you have to ensure that there's enough glucose and oxygen being supplied, and then you can now start stimulating the gut. If you're looking at hydration of an adult, that is very different because we barely use RL in the neonate unit at fast contact. Fast contact, I mean immediately after birth. All right. Are we dealing with other issues? Are we talking about hypokalemia, hyponatremia as well? Because case can be corrected by use of RL instead. So it is very, very case-based, if I may say so. Okay, now Nyokabi Judy says, I look forward to a time insurances will include breast pumps in their packages. I pray so, because they don't include osteocare and other calcium-based supplements in insurance. Believe me, it's a whole headache for OA patients and renal patients, of course. But I see that, I see what you mean, yeah? Okay, so which amount per kg do I use when the baby was in day 3 of life, and that is when EBM is initiated? All right, so day 3 of life means this is still fast contact, okay? And the baby has been on IV fluids. Remember the target at day 1, was 80, at day 2 is 100, okay? Day 1 is 80, day 2 is 100. So question is, let me ask this, Mercy Chege, was this particular baby on IV fluids? Now that you're meeting them at day 3 of life, but were they on IV fluids? If they were, then that means, and they're being weaned off IV fluids, target to achieve the same. So if the IV fluids, if I may go back to this, I'm not so sure whether you can still see it. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
right.
yes, we can see. Yes, go ahead, yeah.
Brilliant. Now, Mercy Chege, your question has to answer the following. Is this a stable neonate or not? 1, 2, what is the weight of your baby that you're meeting them at day 3? When you're able to answer that, we can actually use it as a case study and calculate what we will be able to work with. Sawa? Ken, I am not seeing any other questions on the chart. Do you have any questions on the Q&A?
Definitely no question at the Q&A part. Maybe if Grace, I know you are rushing. If I can give maybe 2 people to unmute themselves if they have question and they can ask before we end this.
Anyone who has a question, please raise your hand up. We'll take 2 people, and then we can answer. Yeah.
Then tomorrow, it's a fireworks. So today we were just opening up, jogging your brain and all that. But we are starting fireworks on parenteral for neonates tomorrow. Anybody with a question, you can raise your hands kindly for the session, our today's session. There's a question, what about mothers with delayed BM, especially post-CS?
That's a tricky question because we have to take into consideration the BMS Act 2012. Yeah, so we can discuss the concept of use of infant formulas, and I think that's a reason why, the concept of breast pumps. The breast pump will work like the baby suckling. And it will promote milk letdown by the fact that, there's that sanction trying to pull the breast milk out of course, the breast itself. So out of personal experience, I have found mothers who started expressing breast milk even before, they are post-CS. The neonates have, or their infants have been put on IV fluids until they're able to get breast milk. Of course, there's the usual things that we use, which we'll discuss tomorrow, but I would love to hear what we tell moms or prescribe for moms to use. Others use fenugreek seeds, Ovaltine, soup yangamia, let me say that out loud very nicely, sardines, omena, to eat and provide enough protein. Exactly. That's a conversation I would want us to start
even
with
me,
tomorrow.
I'll be interested to hear what our
What people are
nutritionists
practicing out here. I know Ovaltine is comfortably promoted because it's mild. There's this other one. There's the Meru porridge, the one that is literally milled by stone. So there are different things. I think we'll want to hear what exactly people are practicing.
Yeah, let's hear tomorrow what they advise the mothers. I know
absolutely
there's usually debate on the first contact. When you first meet that patient, the information you give should be very important, because the successive discussion that another nutritionist is going to have, if it's not well handled, it usually have a challenge. Plus, you remember we had a challenge on renal patients also in the group.
Yeah.
So we'll be interested to hear what our nutritionists are advising our mothers to take, and it will be an important discussion. We can give it a 5 minutes tomorrow if we start early, so that we can hear what they do.
I don't mind even giving it 15, really, so long as we get to be on the same page and hear people's experiences on what has worked wonders for them. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, so somebody has asked if we'll share this.
Hi, parents.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, can I ask Grace what I meant?
Yeah, go
go ahead.
So it's a newborn baby. Let's say the baby has come from home at day 3 or day 4. From home at
Mercy, go ahead. Yeah.
Day 3 and so you are going to start EBM and IV fluids. That's when I was asking, are we going to use the day 1 fluids or are we going to use the day 3 fluids?
All right, so question is this particular baby breastfeeding?
No, not able to breastfeed.
Not able to breastfeed, so always start at 80 at day 1.
Oh, I start at day 1?
Start at day 1 because it will give you a true picture of tolerability.
Okay.
And that means you can scale up pole.
Okay.
Yes. You'll rather start slow and be sure than start very fast and then you end up having the baby will have vomiting and consistent vomiting. And I think I have seen that around here. They will vomit really bad.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, team, I think for today's session was just an opening part, just to tell you what you are going to expect in the forthcoming days. And again, this is just a warm-up we are having for you in preparation. Remember, September is pediatric childhood cancer month. So we mark pediatric oncology. And this topic we've started today is just to make sure that we are prepared for the sessions that we'll have from 9th to 13th September. I'll be glad to take you through pediatric oncology series. Quite a unique and very interesting topic that you should not miss. I urge you people to start register. The details as seen in the screen. Grace, are you able to see the poster?
Yes. It's very visible.
Yeah. So the session will be on pediatric oncology nutrition. That is our topic that we'll discuss. It is an area we've not explored so much. And again, I would also like to ask you to gain as much as you can on this topic, because we'll be building up on what Grace has really been talking on the neonates. Time will be 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day from 9th to 13th. Of course, this one will charge 1,000 shillings for the participants. So the one we are holding today is free for today and until Friday, but now this one will have 1,000 for those who will be interested to join. We want very serious people to join, so that's why we'll have to charge on this, because it's a very unique topic. So please, if you haven't registered, kindly, this is the pay bill for registration. The early bird is better. If you have any question, here is the number you can call, and you'll be given the details on how to join the session. I look forward really to have all of you, more than this, those who have attended today, to register for the sessions on pediatric oncology. Grace, maybe you have a closing remarks before we close up, and then we meet tomorrow.
Yeah, a round of applause to all of you. You are 90, I can say 91 of us who joined in today. A very, very, very good deal for us to get to. Of course, the 3 words: learn, unlearn, and relearn what we are dealing with. And please note that we are using the very, very recent guidelines as far as newborn care is concerned. All right. So something else someone asked is, can we use something that is a stimuli for breast milk production, like Mamalate? Yes, I think majority of us do prescribe Mamalate or Babylate, I think. I think I used Mamalate myself, and it really did help. But like we said, we'll be able to talk about what we prescribe and what has worked wonders for each of us from the diverse places of work where we are, whether at the community level or at the facility level tomorrow. Over to you, Ken. So I'll definitely see you guys tomorrow. Yes.
Great. So, colleagues, I urge you to join tomorrow. Pediatric parenteral nutrition, neonatal parenteral nutrition is one of the topics that many of us fear to even do, because of maybe the technicality on it. So that's why we usually organize these fellowship programs for us to have more confidence. You find many a times these are not things we learned in our universities in details. So it is important that we also join these sessions. It's quite important that we be able to learn as much as possible and we become confident. Another important advert so for those who are interested in pediatric oncology, please kindly make sure that you've registered early, so that we will be able to have you. I also like to tell you that Nutrition and Dietetics Academy is offering specialization course. You've seen what Grace is able to produce. That tells you that we are in serious business when it comes to nutrition activities. Grace is a certified renal nutritionist. So you could see the amount of information we are getting from specialists. I'm also certified oncology nutrition specialist. So for those who are interested to join the academy for their specialization, you can see in your screen, we have Milan. Maybe I don't know if I can give you opportunity to talk about this, Milan. If you can mute and talk, or I can just go ahead and explain to them. Okay, thank you, Milan. So I would like to tell everybody that Nutrition and Dietetics Academy is offering specialization course for the courses that you are seeing in your screen. That is on oncology nutrition, renal nutrition, critical care nutrition, and pediatric nutrition. All these courses are KNDI certified, so you'll be a specialist. after you've completed it. They are 1 year course. We have 3 months attachment. Classes are online, virtual, from 7 to 8. Sometimes some classes might be running from 5. The number, if you have any inquiry, there is a number there that you can call to reach out to give you more details. And the fee is currently 65. Somebody's mic is on. Who is this person? Let me just see if I can mute them so they don't cause problems. All right. So I was saying that these are very flexible courses. So they are all virtual. Then we have 3 months attachment. Then we have KNDI board exams. Then you'll be a specialist. It is important now that you stop practicing as a general practitioner because the world is moving very fast. And if you are not a specialist, sometimes you find you are left behind when people are talking important issues of science. So reach out to the number that is in your screen. For the intake is ongoing. We so far have trained five cohorts, if I'm not wrong, 5 to 6 cohorts that are now specialists. If you go area of oncology, you have quite a good number who are specialized. Pediatrics, we have good number. Grace, who is taking you through this, is a certified renal specialist, and she is also a lecturer to the students, and I'm also lecturing for the oncology students. So we urge all of you to get opportunity to join and be a specialist in your area. Otherwise, thank you very much. See you tomorrow. We'll start exactly 6 so that we have enough time for discussion. Go think about what do you advise your mothers for increased milk intake. Tomorrow we'll be interested to see. Otherwise, I want to thank Nutrition and Dietetics Academy and also Capricorn for giving us opportunity to host this fellowship. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow and the day after. Otherwise, thank you and have a lovely evening, all of you. Thank you all.